Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to do my February 2019 NHL mock draft. Now with 4 months left until the NHL draft, lots of prospects around the world are showcasing their talents and dominating right at the right time. So which prospects crack my top 15? Well, watch till the end to find out. But with this February mock draft, this marks the spot of the season where a lot of these prospects are finding their form and really starting to dominate the leagues that they play in. And a lot of these players, I had a tough time assigning spots, and this top 15 was very hard to assemble, mostly because a lot of these prospects are close together and all of them are practically playing well, which makes for a super interesting mock draft this time around. And we're going to jump right into it, and at number 15, I have Mikko Kokkonen. He is a defenseman in the Liga. He has dropped 2 spots from last month, and he's finished a defenseman at age 18. And in the Liga so far, he's had good stats, but it's kind of slowed down as of late. Now, so far in the SM Liga, he has played 42 games, getting 1 goal, 14 assists for 15 points. Now, he has recently slowed down. He got off to an amazing start of the season, racking up a ton of points and a ton of assists, but in the last month or so, he has been kind of slowing down, which is to be expected from a guy so young playing in the Liga. But as a defenseman, those points totals are still impressive, but there is questions about his overall game, how well he does on the 5-on-5. He is a little bit of a power play merchant. He does a lot of stuff on the power play, and that is good, but he has some questions about his overall game. But I still like Mikko Kokkonen. I still think he's going to be one of the best defensemen in this draft, but he has slowed down, which has concerned me. Next up, at number 14, I have Nathan Legare. He is a right winger in the QMJHL. He has never been ranked in any of these mock drafts so far, so this is his first time, but he is Canadian at age 18, and for me personally, he's one of my favorite players in this draft, mostly because of his overall playability and, of course, his perseverance. And he's absolutely been lighting up the QMJHL so far this season. He is at 49 games played, getting 36 goals, 31 assists for 67 points. And if he were to play the extra 8 games, he would be in the same similar production as Filip Zadina last year. And of course, we all know how much hype Zadina had last year for pretty much lighting up the QMJHL and the World Juniors. So for me personally, I really do like Legare. And even though he's putting up the points, I love his overall play style, how he handles the game, how he just plays and is determined every single night. So for me, he's one of my favorite prospects, and I'm glad to put it in the top 15. Now for me personally, I don't think Legare is the most talented player in this draft class, but he's one of the more hardworking, more perseverance guys, and for me, I like his determination, I love his energy on the ice, and while he is no Jack Hughes, Kaapo when it comes to talent level, I still think he'll work hard as any prospect in this draft. Next up, at number 13, I have Thomas Harley. He is defenseman in the OHL with the Mississauga Steelheads. He was previously not ranked. He is a newcomer into this top 15. He is Canadian at age 17, but so far this season, I don't know how I haven't really recognized him too much this season, but he's been on an absolute tear so far, especially in the last couple of months. Now, Thomas Harley so far this season, I didn't even realize how well he was doing as a defenseman, but he's been killing it in the OHL when it comes to points. So far, playing 49 games, getting 10 goals, 34 assists for 44 points, when in the OHL, being close to a point per game as a 17-year-old, no less, is so impressive. And while, yes, the points maybe some are lucky, some are secondary, he's still, for how many points he's been getting, is being super impressive, and for a 17-year-old, I think he deserves to be this high. But I remember looking at Harley's stats in the last couple of months. I remember looking at it multiple times, but I don't remember him being close to a point per game in the OHL. I never remember that. So he's been great in the last few weeks, absolutely being dominant, when being one of the best OHL defensemen in that league. So he definitely deserves some of the praise that he's been getting. And to be, again, even close to a point per game, to be 5 points away from point per game in the OHL is super impressive. And for that alone, he probably should be top 15. At number 12, I have Victor Soderstrom. He is a defenseman in the SHL. He's down 1 spot from last month, but he's still been playing relatively well. He is a Swedish defenseman at age 17, and in the SHL so far, he's been able to play 30 games and be not bad at all in those games. Now, in the SHL, playing 30 games, he's been able to put up 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points, which might not seem the best on paper when you compare to like Harley, who's getting 44 points in 49 games. With Victor Soderstrom, him playing in the SHL, the SHL is arguably a top 5 league in the entire world, and with Soderstrom, him being age 17, he's still been very, very well, and while I think he can definitely get more points, he's just been playing well overall. I've seen some of the highlights that he's been doing in the SHL, and he is a very prominent defenseman. He's very steady. The defense might need a little bit of some work, but the offense is definitely there, and to be able to put 6 points on the board in 30 games in the SHL is certainly impressive, especially for his age. Now, while I don't think Victor Soderstrom will be generational by all means, I do think right now he is the second best defenseman in this draft, behind or after guys like Kokkonen or Thomas Harley. But I feel like with Soderstrom, he has serious potential. In the SHL so far, he's been very impressive, and he's definitely switched my mind on him. He's been very good, and while I don't think he'll challenge Bowen Byram for that best defenseman in the draft, I still think Soderstrom will be very good in his own right. Now, at number 11, I have Vasili Podkolzin. He is a right winger in the MHL. He is up 1 spot from last month, and you guys likely know him already. He's a Russian right winger at age 17. He, in my opinion, is one of the most interesting prospects heading into this 2019 NHL draft, because I've seen some people put him as high as 3, maybe even number 2 in this draft, but for me, I'm a little more cautious on his end. Now, his main league this season has been the MHL, him playing at 12 games in that span, getting 6 goals, 2 assists for 8 points. He also appeared in 7 World Junior Championship games with Russia this season, getting 3 assists, which is not bad whatsoever. But with Vasili Podkolzin, I will not deny he has serious potential, serious hands, and serious talent. But when it comes to the stats that he's shown so far in this season, it's been definitely worrying, to say the least. Now, with Vasili Podkolzin, it seems like every single tournament that he goes to, he absolutely dominates. He looks fantastic, we see some highlight reel goals, and that's pretty much what happens with Podkolzin. When it comes to his overall season stats, whether it's in the MHL, the VHL, the KHL, wherever he might play, he's just lackluster. He doesn't play as well as some other guys in his own draft year and in his own class, and to me, that is the most worrying part about him. I will not deny, he has great talent, he has great skills, but for me right now, for me to put him as high as people are putting him in, I need to see great stats in the season, and for me, I'm just not seeing that right now. Now, going into the top 10, and at number 10, I have Kaliyev. He is a left winger in the OHL. He is down 1 spot from last month, but he's still been playing great. He's an American at age 17, and throughout this whole season, he just continues to dominate the OHL like he always has. And while I still have my concerns about his overall game when it comes to defense, maybe even overall ability on the offense, he has shown and proven to be amazing so far in the OHL. We'll see if that translates to the NHL game, but right now, with how good Kaliyev is playing, I think for sure he will be a top 10 player. Maybe some NHL teams catch up on him and his overall game, but I feel like with Kaliyev and the stats he's putting up, they're really too good to not acknowledge. Now at number 9, I have Peyton Krebs. He is a left winger slash center in the WHL. He is up 1 point from last month's rankings. And in the WHL, Peyton Krebs has been absolutely amazing on one of the worst CHL teams in the entire league. Now, he is Canadian and age 18, and with the Kootenay Ice, he's been absolutely amazing, being their captain, but putting up a lot of points too. And if you guys keep up with the WHL, Kootenay is moving to Winnipeg next season. They're a terrible franchise. They have been absolutely horrendous this season, but Peyton Krebs has been one of the bright spots, and is producing quite well right now. Now, so far in the WHL, Peyton Krebs played 47 games, getting 16 goals, 40 assists for 56 points, and that's up there with guys like Kirby Dach and Cozens when it comes to points, and he's being really competitive, but on a terrible Kootenay Ice team, he doesn't have too much help offensively. His teammates are, for the most part, crap, and right now, Kootenay only has Peyton Krebs, pretty much their only bright spot right now, but Peyton Krebs continuing to play well, continuing to get that draft stock, and for me, I was kind of skeptical at the start of the season on Peyton Krebs and his overall play, but so far this season, as the season has gone on, he's been even more impressive, and I feel like for him, being a top 10 prospect is pretty much a need at this point. Now, at number 8, I have Matthew Boldy. He is a left winger in the USDP. He is up 0 spots from last month, him being number 8 in last month's rankings. And he is an American at age 17. And in the USDP, he has been pretty much consistently good throughout the whole season. I've always had him in my top 10. And for me, I still like him right now, and he still is producing. Now, so far, his stats in the USDP have been very, very impressive. Him playing 37 games so far, getting 21 goals, 22 assists for 43 points. And on that USDP team, he has had a lot of great teammates, but he is really driving his own line there. I don't think he plays with Hughes too much nowadays, but when Hughes went to the World Junior Championships, Boldy was off of Team USA's roster. He wasn't even planned on, but he continued to play well. And of course, the January, he continued to play well. And this February, of course, heading into February, he has done well. And to me, I can't really say too much because he's just been consistently driving it and consistently being great in the USDP. So he has had no cold streaks, no hot streaks, but he's just been great overall. But in the USDP so far this season, I think he has gotten overshadowed by guys like Hughes and even a Trevor Zegras, but he has amazing offensive potential. Boldy has some of the best offensive creativity in this draft class, and while he probably will get overshadowed by guys like Hughes on his own team, he has a lot of value to offer by himself. Now, next up at number 7, I have Kirby Dach. He is a center in the WHL. He is down 2 points from last month. He is Canadian at age 18, and so far this season, it has been an up and down roller coaster with Kirby Dach. At the start of the season, he was absolutely dominant and was amazing in the points totals, and in the last couple of months, he has been really slumping. We haven't seen a lot of offensive potential from him, and yes, while he is still playing pretty decently, I just don't see the top 5 pick in him anymore. And earlier in the season, I had Kirby Dach in my top 3, but right now, he just isn't playing like a top 3 pick. Now, so far in the WHL, he has played 46 games, getting 18 goals, 34 assists for 52 points. And for me personally, I've always liked Dach as an overall prospect. I've always admired his playing ability. But when it comes to his overall stats, he was amazing to start of the year. He has slumped as of late. And while he has continued to get a little bit better in the last couple of weeks, it still is not where it needs to be for him. Now, we've seen some stories about him improving his overall game while he is still slumping. So that shows some perseverance on his end. But for me, right now, I thought he was going to be one of the more talented players in this draft class and could potentially be a top 3 pick, but right now he just isn't showing that talent right now. But for Kirby Dach, it'll be crucial in these next couple months to finally start to get going again, to re-find his game, because I think scouts and people that are making these mock drafts, like me, are starting to realize that Dach has just been continuing to slow down as of late. And yeah, while it has been getting better, I feel like these next couple months are going to be crucial for Dach to prove himself once again as a potential top 5 prospect, which right now, he just plain is not doing. Now, at number 6, I have Alex Turcotte. He is a center in the USDP. He is in the same spot as he was last month. He is American at age 17. And for Alex Turcotte, again, he started off the season with a big hip injury. I think he had to get surgery. But after that, and since returning from injury, he has been absolutely fantastic. Now, in the USDP so far, he has played 15 games. He has gotten 11 goals, 11 assists for 22 points. And for Alex Turcotte, he is finally healthy. He is finally ready to go. And we've been able to see his talents explode over the last few weeks. And with him now being healthy, it is big for that USD development program. But for Alex Turcotte, I was surprised by how really flawlessly he has came back from a hip surgery. Again, for an injury that bad and that major, most prospects usually have to take a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things and get ready. But Alex Turcotte was injured from the start of the season until like December, but since then he's been absolutely fantastic, showing why he's one of the best prospects in this class. And for me personally, he's one of my favorite prospects in this draft. And going into the year, again, I had him as a top 3 prospect. So I think he has even more to prove going into the next couple of months. And heading into March and April, he could absolutely explode. He might still be having injury problems. Again, coming back from a hip surgery is fairly big. So we might have not even seen the best of Alex Turcotte yet. And maybe the best is yet to come, which for the USDP is certainly super scary. Now, heading into the top 5, at number 5, I have Bowen Byram. He is a defenseman in the WHL. He is up 2 points from last month, and my, what a month for Bowen Byram. Now, he is a Canadian defenseman at age 17, and for me, I had him at number 7 in last month's rankings, but this past month, month of January for Bowen Byram, he absolutely exploded and was one of the best defensemen, if not the best defenseman in the entire WHL in that stretch. And in the WHL so far this season, he's been able to play 48 games, getting 19 goals, 28 assists for 47 points. And for defenseman, I think he was point per game yesterday. But as a defenseman, to be that close to point per game, or pretty much point per game, even though the WHL is a pretty high-scoring league, to get that many points is absolutely phenomenal. And Bowen Byram in this last month was absolutely on fire. Now, Bowen Byram was so good in the month of January that he ended up being awarded the best WHL defenseman in the month of January, which is absolutely ridiculous because even though Bowen Byram was looked at as the best defenseman in this draft, I don't think I expected that from him. And for me personally, I see him as the best defenseman in this draft, both defensively and offensively. But this past month, he's been putting it all together to create one of the best draft stocks right now. And in the last month, I think he's been one of the best players in this draft. And honestly, I wish I could have put him up higher because I think he deserves that. Now, for the top 5 from now on in these mock drafts, I will have a player comparison where I compare each prospect to a current player in the NHL. And for Bowen Byram, I picked Morgan Rielly, and especially with what Byram has shown in the last month and a half, he's been very, very offensive, but also is not bad in his own zone. So for me, I picked Morgan Rielly, and I think that is a pretty good fit right now. Now, heading on to number 4, and at number 4, I have Trevor Zegras. He is a center in the USDP. He is at the same spot than he was last month. He is American at age 17, and kind of like Matthew Boldy, has continued to consistently put up points and play well in the USDP. And then the USDP so far, he's played fantastic, playing 36 games, getting 15 goals, 38 assists for 53 points, and being over an assist per game is certainly impressive in the USDP, and Trevor Zegras has been able to get that and get some goals along with it too. But Zegras has definitely impressed me, not just with the points he's been getting, but the creativity and the hockey IQ that he has is one of the best in the draft. And for me, Trevor Zegras is kind of getting overshadowed by a guy like Jack Hughes, obviously. But Trevor Zegras has a lot of value in his own right and definitely deserves to get recognized. Now, when it came to a player comparison, I compared Zegras to Ryan O'Reilly. I think they're two very similar players. While I think Zegras will be better, I think the overall play style of both of them are pretty solid. You got the hockey IQ and the creativity, which I think are on both players. You got the defensive ability, which I think Zegras has as well. So I think they're pretty similar players, albeit I think Zegras will probably be just a little bit better. Heading into the top 3, and at number 3, I have Dylan Cozens. He is a slender / right winger in the WHL. He's in the same position as he was last month. He is a Canadian at age 17, and in the WHL, in the last few months, he's continuing to play well and be as solid as he ever has. Now, in the WHL so far, he has been continuing to put on the points, playing 49 games, getting 27 goals, 34 assists for 61 points. And for Dylan Cozens, he is certainly putting the points on the board, and he's been fantastic in that own respect. But what really strikes me in Dylan Cozens' game is his overall ability. Yes, he does put up a ton of points. He does have a lot of offensive potential, but I think the defense also is something that is one of Dylan Cozens' strengths. He is very good all around. Physicality, I think, is a little bit something that he might need to work on, but the defense potential, I think, is there. He puts quite a bit of effort into his defense, and it's definitely showing on the ice. Now, for me, if I had to compare him to a player, I would compare him right now to Sean Monahan. Sean Monahan, a guy that could put up a lot of points, but is also very good in his own end, and the physicality is definitely there too. So I don't think it's a one-to-one comparison, not yet, but I feel like Dylan Cozens has the potential to be as good as a guy like Sean Monahan, and we've seen that already in the WHL. And when it comes to his overall game, I still see him as that kind of shutdown center that could also put up a ton of points and have that amazing offensive potential. So with Dylan Cozens, he brings a lot of different things and a lot of different value, and that's why he's so high in this mock draft. Now, down to the last 2 spots, and it seems like it's always a competitive battle between Kaapo, Kakko, and Jack Hughes for the number 1 and the number 2 spots, seemingly every single month. But as I said in my Jack Hughes versus Kakko video, I think it is a very close race, but number 2, I'm gonna have to give to Kakko. Now, in the Liga so far, Kakko has been as dominant as usual. He has played 31 games, getting 12 goals, 11 assists for 23 points, being 6th on his TPS team. And in the World Junior Championships, he also, again, was great, playing 7 games, getting 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, and of course, getting the golden goal. Now, if I had to compare Kakko to one player in the NHL, I'd probably compare him to Mikko Rantanen. While I think Kakko will ultimately be much better than Mikko Rantanen, I feel like they are in the same overall spirit of playing ability. And with Mikko Rantanen, I think he's pretty overrated, but he has physicality, but he has a lot of scoring touch as well. And I feel like that's what Kakko is going to build towards and be as an NHL player. And for me personally, I still see him as the #2 ranked prospect, but he is my favorite prospect in this draft, and I do like his overall ability quite a lot. And of course, with Kakko, I was really impressed with him in the World Junior Championships, and so far since coming back from that, he's been very, very good in the Liga, getting a couple more goals, getting a couple more assists, and being pretty consistent. So we'll see how Kakko and his point totals continue throughout the year, but right now, he's looking like a very, very promising prospect, and I wish I could put him #1. Now, the player to get #1 in the February mock draft is once again Jack Hughes. While I like Kakko quite a lot myself, Jack Hughes just takes the cake for the #1 prospect this time around. Now, most of you guys know who Jack Hughes is already, but in case you don't, Jack Hughes is a center in the USDP. Of course, he has moved in 0 spots from last month, but he's an American at age 17 and has been the #1 favorite for pretty much a year and a half now. And Jack Hughes has been just phenomenal so far in the USDP and has really shown why he is such a good prospect. Now, so far in the USDP, he has played 28 games, getting 13 goals, 43 assists for a solid 56 points. And right now, that is leading the USDP, and he also missed some time. So he has been fantastic so far this season, which is pretty much what everybody expected. Now, in the World Junior Championships with Team USA, he was also very, very impressive, playing 4 games. He had a little bit of injury problems, but in those 4 games, he ended up getting 4 assists for a point per game. And that World Junior performance, I thought, was very crucial for him. While Kakko did play well, Jack Hughes was also very solid in that World Junior Championship tournament. But in the USDP, since coming back, he has been on fire and has been even better since when he was going to the World Juniors. So, for me right now, Jack Hughes is going to be really interesting to see in the last couple of months of the season how well he continues to play, if he can get over 2 points a game. And for me personally, Jack Hughes, I think, is the most talented player in this draft class. And while I think Kakko is certainly the more NHL-ready player, I feel like Jack Hughes just has the most potential. But for me personally, I pretty much always go back and forth on Kakko and Jack Hughes pretty much on a daily basis. But right now, I feel like Jack Hughes just has the upper edge. While Kakko has certainly been very, very impressive in the Liga, I feel like Jack Hughes just has that upper edge when it comes to talent and overall playing ability. Now, when it comes to a player comparison right now, I'm going to compare Jack Hughes to a Johnny Gaudreau. Some people I've seen go out there and say that he's an Austin Matthews. Jack Hughes is nothing like Austin Matthews. He is a lot more like a Johnny Gaudreau or maybe even a Patrick Kane. But I feel like Johnny Gaudreau is a pretty solid fit since both players are small. But when it comes to Johnny Gaudreau, he's been amazing so far this season. But Jack Hughes has unlimited potential. He has great hands, great skating, one of the best skaters I've almost ever seen. And we'll see that go into the NHL. We'll see if he's NHL ready after that draft. But to me, I feel like his potential is through the roof and just puts him over the edge of Kakko. But with 4 months left until the NHL draft, we'll likely have 3 more mock drafts until the NHL draft every single month on this channel. But we're getting down to the wire and we're getting down to the final countdown for a lot of these prospects. So the mock drafts are going to be even more serious. They're probably going to be a lot more longer down the line. And of course, heading up to until the NHL draft, I'll likely have some top 31s coming up in the future. But there's a lot of fantastic prospects in this NHL draft. We've already seen that, and we've already seen the point totals that some of these guys are coming up. So even with this February mock draft, it was very hard to put together. A lot of these guys are playing well, and it's honestly very neck and neck. But of course, we're going to get down to the wire. 4 months left until June 2019, and of course, 4 months left until these prospects get called on draft day. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about my top 15 prospects? What do you think about my mock draft? What do you think about me having Jack Hughes over Kakko? And what will be your mock draft for the 2019 NHL draft? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video on Jack Hughes and if he went to the Chicago Blackhawks. But that is going for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. You can comment down below your thoughts on my mock draft and your mock draft as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.